Your vehicle was engineered with a specific operational lifespan in mind, but that lifespan was not determined by the limits of metallurgy or mechanical engineering. It was determined by automotive actuaries, calculating the exact point at which a consumer will abandon a repair and simply purchase a new vehicle. Modern engines are quietly failing at the 100,000-mile mark, choking to death on their own internal waste, while older engines from previous decades routinely achieved 300,000 miles without a single catastrophic internal failure. The steel did not get weaker. The aluminum did not become more fragile. The engineering actually improved. What changed was the maintenance protocol, heavily modified and completely rewritten to maximize service center profits and guarantee recurring revenue. You are consistently told that modern engines require highly complex, synthetic chemical treatments to survive, but this is a carefully constructed illusion. We are now going to deconstruct the manufactured complexity of modern automotive maintenance and expose a $2 liquid-solvent ratio utilized by World War II mechanics to clear heavy carbon sludge from tank engines in a matter of minutes. Dealerships routinely charge upwards of $200 for brightly colored synthetic engine flushes that achieve a fraction of the result this simple chemical reaction provides. If you have a vehicle sitting in your driveway right now that feels sluggish, burns oil, or has unexplained engine ticking, drop the word sludge in the comments below. We want to know exactly how many people are currently dealing with this highly profitable, entirely preventable problem. To understand the scale of this deception, you must first understand the anatomy of the enemy inside your engine. Every time fuel detonates inside a combustion chamber, a microscopic amount of unburned hydrocarbons and combustion gases bypasses the piston rings and enters the crankcase. This is known as blow-by. In a perfect world, the positive crankcase ventilation system evacuates these gases, but the system is never perfect. Over thousands of miles and thousands of extreme heat cycles, these raw hydrocarbons interact with your engine oil. They oxidize, they break down, and they begin to polymerize. This polymerization process creates a thick, highly abrasive, tar-like substance known throughout the automotive industry as engine sludge. Sludge is a death sentence for an internal combustion engine. It clogs the microscopic oil galleys that feed your overhead camshafts. It starves the main bearings of lubrication. But most profitably for the repair industry, it paralyzes the oil control rings on your pistons. When these rings become glued to the piston by hardened carbon, they can no longer scrape oil off the cylinder walls. Your engine begins to consume massive amounts of oil. Your spark plugs foul, you lose compression, and eventually, the engine destroys itself. The modern dealership model relies entirely on this exact timeline of mechanical degradation. They tell you to change your oil every 10,000 miles, a mathematically absurd interval designed specifically to ensure that sludge forms right as your factory warranty expires. This is the part where the numbers become uncomfortable. According to the Automotive Aftermarket Suppliers Association annual revenue report, the fluid maintenance services industry generated $4.2 billion in a single year. When you pull into a service bay and the service advisor tells you that your engine needs a premium internal cleaning, they are selling you a heavily marketed, overpriced chemical that is mathematically designed to be weak. If you walk into any auto parts store, you will see an entire aisle dedicated to beautifully packaged engine flush bottles costing $20 to $30 each. If you demand the chemical safety data sheets for these products, you will discover a highly lucrative secret. These premium flushes are composed of 98% cheap carrier oil and perhaps 2% of an actual active cleaning solvent. They are selling you diluted oil at a massive premium. The chemical concentration is deliberately kept too low to actually dissolve polymerized carbon sludge. It merely glazes over the hardened deposits, slightly cleaning the superficial layers to make the draining oil look dark, giving you the psychological illusion that the product worked. They want you to come back and buy it again. They want the recurring revenue. What I am about to show you completely dismantles this entire $4 billion service model and takes us back to a time when mechanics had to solve actual problems instead of selling chemical subscriptions. In 1944, the United States Department of War faced a catastrophic logistical nightmare in the European theater. Heavy armored vehicles and tactical transport trucks were operating in the most brutal conditions imaginable. Engines were running continuously, idling in extreme cold, and pulling massive loads through mud and dust. The lower octane fuels of the era created immense amounts of carbon buildup, and these engines were sludging up rapidly. The military did not have the luxury of computer diagnostic bays, and they certainly were not ordering $200 synthetic engine flushes from a corporate dealership network. They needed a chemical intervention that worked instantly in the field, without requiring the engine to be dismantled. The answer was documented in the Tactical Motor Vehicle Preventive Maintenance Manual, specifically Archive TM 92810. The military engineers understood raw hydrocarbon chemistry. They knew exactly how to break the molecular bonds of polymerized sludge using nothing but a specific, highly concentrated, inexpensive industrial liquid. If you made it this far, you already know more about this than 99% of consumers on the road today. Subscribe and share this to protect this knowledge before the industry tries to erase it again. It is vital that we distribute this mechanical reality to as many drivers as possible. The science behind this historical protocol was later validated by the Massachusetts Institute of Technology Department of Mechanical Engineering in a 1987 study concerning the solvency of hydrocarbons on internal combustion byproducts. The researchers analyzed why certain chemical agents strip carbon instantly while others fail entirely. Polymerized engine sludge consists of long-chain, cross-linked hydrocarbon molecules. To break these bonds, you cannot use a thick, high molecular weight oil like the ones sold in modern retail engine flushes. You require a low molecular weight, highly penetrating aliphatic hydrocarbon solvent. A solvent that is non-polar, which allows it to aggressively attach to the non-polar sludge deposits and dissolve them back into a liquid state. The military mechanics in World War II utilized a highly refined cut of pure aliphatic petroleum distillate. Today, this exact chemical compound is commercially available in any hardware store for about $2 a dose, typically sold as pure, clear, 100% kerosene or high-grade mineral spirits. You cannot patent basic aliphatic hydrocarbons, and what you cannot patent, you cannot build a billion-dollar industry on. They didn't hide it because it failed. They hid it because it worked too well. But here's the part nobody tells you about chemical engine cleaning, and it is the exact reason why dealerships claim that using old-school solvents will destroy your engine. They weaponize half-truths to protect their profit margins. If you pour a highly active solvent into an engine and drive the vehicle under a load, the low viscosity of the solvent will wash away the hydrodynamic oil film protecting your main crankshaft bearings. Metal will contact metal, the bearings will spin, and the engine will seize. The industry uses this fact to scare you into buying their weak, oil-based flush products. But the military engineers knew exactly how to manage this physical limitation. Most people who attempt a deep engine flush do it completely wrong and destroy their internal bearings. Here is the single step that guarantees the result and protects your engine from any internal damage whatsoever. The secret is the strict elimination of mechanical load and the introduction of a buffer lubricant. You must never, under any circumstances, place the vehicle in gear or press the accelerator pedal while the active solvent is in the crankcase. Here is the exact, unedited, historical protocol adapted for modern internal combustion engines. You must perform this procedure immediately before a scheduled oil change. First, bring the engine up to its full operating temperature. The metal must be hot, and the old oil must be thin. Shut the engine down. Next, drain exactly 1 quart of the old, dirty engine oil from the oil pan to create physical space in the crankcase. Now, prepare the $2 liquid. You will measure exactly 1 quart of pure, 100% clear, aliphatic hydrocarbon solvent, commonly labeled as Grade 1K kerosene. Do not use dyed heating fuels or blended camp fuels. To this pure solvent, add a heavy splash of conventional 30-weight motor oil. This creates a highly active yet lightly buffered chemical stripping agent that mimics the exact viscosity ratio utilized by tactical mechanics. Pour this 1 quart mixture directly into your engine oil filler neck. Start the engine. Step away from the steering wheel. Do not touch the accelerator. Allow the engine to idle freely at its standard base revolutions per minute. Do not let it exceed 1,000 revolutions per minute. You will let the engine idle for exactly 15 minutes. During these 15 minutes, the oil pump is circulating this highly aggressive aliphatic solvent through every microscopic oil galley, over the camshafts, and most importantly, directly into the paralyzed, carbon-packed piston rings. Because the engine is simply idling with zero mechanical load, the main bearings are under no stress, and the residual oil film is more than sufficient to provide lubrication. Meanwhile, the extreme solvency of the liquid is physically shattering the molecular bonds of the sludge. It is dissolving the tar, melting the hardened carbon on the oil control rings, and suspending all of that heavy debris within the liquid oil mixture. At exactly the 15-minute mark, shut the engine down. Immediately get under the vehicle and remove the oil drain plug. You must drain this mixture while it is blisteringly hot. Do not let it cool, or the suspended sludge will begin to settle back onto the metal surfaces. As the oil drains, you will witness a terrifyingly thick, pitch-black liquid pouring out of your oil pan. This is the heavy carbon sludge, the varnish, and the microscopic debris that has been suffocating your piston rings for the last 50,000 miles. It is the exact substance that the dealership was waiting to diagnose as a catastrophic mechanical failure. Once the dark liquid has completely drained, remove the old oil filter. Install a fresh, high-quality filter and fill the engine with the manufacturer's specified amount of high-quality synthetic oil. When you start the engine again, the mechanical difference will be immediate and undeniable. The hydraulic lifters will be silent. Piston rings, now completely freed from their carbon prisons, will expand against the cylinder walls with full tension, immediately restoring lost engine compression and halting oil consumption. The throttle response will sharpen. You have just chemically reset the internal health of your engine, neutralizing the primary cause of premature mechanical death, and you accomplished it using a $2 dose of basic chemistry. The automotive repair industry engineered a system designed to slowly choke your vehicle while selling you expensive, ineffective chemical placebos. They buried the science. We dig it up.